Right, so the Picasso's gone. I know. It's sad. Yeah, no, it's a little bit sad. So today I have to do some work on the C6, which is a car I've not really featured, well, I've not featured since May, really. Other than if you're a channel member, you might have seen a picture the other day with some success I had with it, but that's unrelated to today. So today I need to do some investigation and potentially rectification work on the C6, because if you remember earlier in the year, I took it to France. I forgot my camera, so I couldn't do any filming or anything over there, but I did take it to France, and I did loads of work before I went, and I changed the air conditioning condenser, and I changed lots of coolant pipes and things, tons of work on it. Not many people watched them, actually. I don't look at many of the stats, but I'm always intrigued by like the patterns to see why I do, yeah. So I did all that work, put waterless coolant in it. There's quite a few videos on it, like 5 or 6 videos on it. And then I drove it to France, but the only thing I complained of, well, I complain of a lot of things, but the only thing I really noticed issue-wise with the car was that it seemed to have a boost leak. Well, it certainly sounded like it had a boost leak. It was, you put your foot down and it was, as soon as the turbo spooled up, it was really loud. And it is very turbo-y anyway. You can hear them spinning away, because of course it has 2 of them. It is a twin turbo. Although I've got 2 turbos, doesn't mean I can go wasting boost. That's not good for it. So what I want to do is figure out where the leak is coming from, because in a few weeks' time I have to go to France, and we're supposed to be taking the S-Max, but the S-Max has developed a problem. So we're taking the C6 to S-Max. We're all going to squeeze into it, and it's going to be a last minute holiday to France. I swear I've done this one before. Have I? Have we done all this? Getting deja vu. No, it's definitely 2023. Okay, yeah. So yes, going to take it to France. If it has got a boost leak, I mean, it hasn't really dropped any power, but if it has got a boost leak, I want to know why that dog's barking at me. If it has got a boost leak, I want to know where it is so that I can contain it. Because what I do not want is to be driving down a French auto route at 1,000,000 kilometers an hour, and then for the boost leak to become suddenly much worse to the point where it won't work anymore and leaves us stranded on the side of the road. That would be bad. Bad for our holiday and bad for the brand. Don't like seeing C6s broken down on the side of the road. So I'm going to try and find that boost leak today. Now I'm also going to change the oil. And everyone's going to be like, well, you changed the oil when, you know, the other day, when you did all that work, you changed the oil. Yes, I did, but there's be a separate video on that to explain why I'm doing it again. So the first thing I need to do is try and figure out where this boost leak's coming from. I don't know for sure it's got one. I did briefly entertain the notion of putting it on the rolling road and using Alexia to measure the boost signals, front and rear bank. I may still do that if I can't find anything at all. Because if I put it on the rolling road, I can make the rolling road brake at a certain speed. I can make it brake, not brake like fall apart. I mean brake like it'll put the brake on so it won't let it go above 40 miles an hour or something like that. And then I can modulate the amount of throttle I put on, and obviously the turbos will spool and any boost leaks become much more apparent. And then Lexia should be able to tell me what the boost pressure is, front and rear bank. I don't know where it could be. There were a few things I disturbed when I did all that work, but I do remember doing it all back up again. The only thing I did do you remember I changed those 2 little pipes that went across the top of the engine? I'll show you. That's the easiest thing to do. I'll show you. Right, so things have changed under the engine bay here. As you can see, there's that. That's covered in my fleet update video, where I do a small fleet update to explain some of the things that's been happening on some of the cars and stuff. But do you remember these? I mean, I've been researching trying to find out what they are, and I still don't actually know. I imagine they're boost pressure pipes. They go to some sort of sensor or something. They may even go to the engine mounts, which are active. I thought, have I got those around the wrong way? But I've started the engine up and I've been listening all over it, and I cannot for the life of me find anything up here, which is why I've put it on the ramp, because I'll have a look underneath in a minute. I can sense something as amiss. When we were on holiday, I took this off here and wrapped some self-amalgamating tape underneath here and packed it all back together really tight, because I thought this was leaking, and of course boost pressure will be inside this and will, you know, makes its way into the inlet manifold there. That could be a prime candidate, but it made no difference. And it's really bizarre. So yeah, I'm going to I'll fire it up. Let's fire it up. Let's have another listen. See if we can figure it out. Please don't fall off. That timing chain noise is another reason why I'm changing the oil, but I'll get onto that in the other video. See if you can hear it there. Nothing, is there? I can hear something, I can hear whooshing now. And so what I've been doing is going round with a hose. It's just nothing. A bit down there, but then that could be the belts. I think it more sounds like it's underneath. I'm going to have a look underneath, because there are some boost pipes down there. Incidentally, last time I went on the tunnel, that was me. It's annoying. And the silly pillars as you drive upstairs. Can't see them in this. I can hear it a lot louder under here. So there's a boost pipe up here. Careful not to take my fingers off. It looks tight. Another one there. Looks good. All these little vacuum pipes or boost pipes look alright. Oh wow! I can hear it. I can feel it. Why can I feel? Oh, balls. Right, yeah, I found it. It's not a boost leak at all. It's worse. Oh, no, it's worse. It's worse. Can you see? There's a great big hole in the exhaust. The C6 strikes again. That's what I might make the thumbnail of this video, but that's actually slightly clickbaity, but I'm doing it to make a point, because I could turn around and go, the C6 strikes again. Oh look, I've got yet another problem, right? That's the day it was, that's the year it was registered. It was actually built in 2007. So that exhaust is 16 years old. 14 years. Wow, I'm so bad at maths. 16 years old. It might even be 17 years old. Anyway, that exhaust is old, so it's actually lasted a very long time. So it's good, it's done very well. It's just picked a very bad time to develop a hole. and I had to bring it down to turn it off. I'm going to put it back up in the air and see what I can do to sort this out. I'm going to have to patch this up somehow. I can't fix it now. I did have a quick look online just now. You can actually buy new components because on one side of that joint it's a cat, and on the other side is another cat, and then the DPF. I tell you what, don't judge me on this, right? This is career suicide, isn't it? First it was the Picasso sill the other day, and now I'm like showing you what I'm doing to an exhaust using foil tape and some RTV sealant. Oh dear. This is very last minute because I do not have time to sort this out. And we've already not been able to take our other car because it had mechanical issues. So we definitely don't want the second backup car, or the main backup car, to have the same issues. So I am just ruining this piece of foil tape. I'm just layering it up with bits of sealant, and I'll put something around it to give it some structure later on. I don't know what, but I can guarantee you one thing though, it will not be pretty. But then this exhaust has been patched up before, it's been welded around here. And actually, I'll tell you what, I found some sealant on the clamp, and I'm wondering if it's had this for a while. Which in a way is not a bad thing if it has, because if it has had it for a while, that means it's lived with it for a while, and if it lives with it for a while, it's more likely to be able to live with it going around all the places in Europe that we're supposed to be going to, which would be, it would be helpful if it could. I'm not going to make it up. It could be, it would be useful if it could fulfill its duty. Poor thing. I have to be honest, I'm rather ashamed of that. Ugh, look at the state of it. I'm in two minds. I'm actually thinking of welding a tab from the edge of this to here, just to give it some strength in case it tries to rip the rest of the flange off around the other side. So I don't know, I'm in two minds on that one. I'm scared of welding anything on this car. I've never done it before. Feels like disconnecting the battery would not be enough, but I haven't got that much time. But yeah, there's basically layers and layers and layers of gunk, layers and layers of foil tape of various thicknesses. Then there's a strip of aluminium wrapped around it, and then Jubilee clip on the top of that. So yeah, and it's got to do the holiday basically. It's got to do the holiday. So I'm going to go off and start filming the other video, which is the oil change, and explain why I'm doing the oil change now. I can't put that all in one video because, well, it's too long apparently, according to YouTube. So yeah, I will pick this up in a bit when I've done the oil change, and then I can't see it. I've got my under tray to put back under it for the first time ever. So that should be nice. So I'll see you in a minute. Some time ago, I even bought all these. These are the original trim clips, like push rivet things that hold the under tray on a C6, and probably a C5 and a C4 and a C2, and they're on the floor, and Peugeots. So I've got a clip there, I think. Yep. 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 One there. Two missing on the front panel thing. Nope. So that in theory will go in there, only it isn't because it's not. Well, that's good, isn't it? This is a momentous occasion. I've never driven the car with this fitted before, because when I got it, it was broken and I've had to repair it, look. It's invisible, you can't see it. I don't even know where it goes. Ah, okay. No! Guessing that goes there like that. Oh no, it's not going to hide the exhaust. Damn. Not that I'm ashamed or anything, just tight. It's not in yet either. Well, that's not coming off. Ever. That was a fight. But it is tight. Still a little bit broken here, unfortunately. And I did notice, having carefully put in this receiver here, that bit's broken off. And I ran out of clips, so I couldn't put one in there, but that's it, all the others are in, so that's not too bad. The C6 now has aerodynamics. Oh, yes. Yeah, okay. Yes, but I'm not very good at this, but even for me, that is still quite a continuity error, isn't it? That is not the C6. So funny story. It's not ha-ha funny, more like crying funny. So I did all the work on the C6, and then I left. And I kind of hashed an ending together, and for 2 different videos at the same time. I don't know how I'm going to edit all this together because many things have happened, but the C6 left. Someone's just had an airline leak. So left with the C6, went home, went to the pub later on that night, met up with Senior Scroff, who now has the Picasso, and made some plans about something unrelated to this channel, but exciting plans, good plans. Yesterday, wife said to me, do you think we should take the C6 for a run? And I think, what do you mean? I don't like running. Oh, you mean drive? Well, okay, yes, because it hadn't actually been driven. And I hadn't really paid any attention as to whether it was any better than it was, regards the whooshing and the exhaust noises and whatnot. So we took it to the motorway. I accelerated up the motorway slip road. I got to, well, let's say 70 miles an hour. But I'm not exaggerating when I say, let's say 70 miles an hour. I'm not misleading you into thinking I was going really, really fast, because I couldn't go really, really fast. Because as I went up the slip road, it kind of just didn't want to break the law. It didn't want to break the limit. And that's strange, because normally it's quite happy to do that. So I thought, what gives? And the whooshing was getting louder and louder and louder. And I thought, no, this can't be good. And then the light came on. The message on the screen, DPF at risk of clogging. Ah. Right, yeah, that would break the flexi bit. If it was a bit old and tired, it would probably blow that. It would cause the whooshy leak. Yeah, so the problem with the C6 is actually that the DPF is blocked, and it is on the brink of blocking solid, and has no top end power anymore, and has had this probably for some time. Which means that the S-Max is now less broken than the C6. So I've now been back in again today, on the weekend, to try and get this thing ready to go around Europe, which is what it was supposed to be doing, but then it was not going to, because the C6 was going to do it because this was broken. But now in that short space of time, the C6 is broken more than this was broken. Because a DPF, I mean, I've seen them advertised cheap, but that doesn't make sense. I thought they were very expensive. And there are things you can do. You can try cleaning them. Some people hack them out, whatever. There's ways around that. But the short story is, I'm not going to get that done before I go. So I'll be back on this. So all this C6 footage has kind of been for nothing, because everything I did on that exhaust is all going to have to come back out. And I'm going to have to change the DPF. So, But I did get the aircon working on it, and it's really good. Which is no good to me now. Also worth just quickly pointing out here, before people jump on the bandwagon and go, oh, the C6, oh, it's so troublesome and everything. Again, I'm not making excuses for it. There are things about that car that are troublesome that I don't like. But all the problems it's got at the moment, what do I say? Yeah, I think, yeah, I would say all of the ones it's got at the moment. Well, DPFs are, block DPFs are standard, well, the diesel versions of S-Maxes do it for fun. It's common, it's very common. Especially on diesel engines that don't get driven long distances, that only do short journeys, like mine does, and that are supposed to be, people recommend to run it on the posh diesel fuel, not the cheap stuff, which I used to do, but I stopped. And so yeah, it's not really, it's not a C6 specific problem. It's not like the C6 has bitten me in the arse, because this could have happened with an S-Max, it could have happened with, well, it did used to happen with Ford Focus diesels. I used to sell DPFs back in previous job. I used to sell DPFs for Ford Focuses, among other Ford parts. It was common. It's a common thing. Diesel particulate filter, that is, in the exhaust, they block up. Yeah, it happens. Unfortunately, the timing is pretty bad, and because it's a C6, the part will probably be quite expensive, but by the by, there aren't actually any problems with the C6 that I would say are causing me concern, like, oh, C6s are such a pain in the bum. No, I don't really think, I mean, there will be, don't get me wrong, I'm sure the suspension pipes, one of them will burst, and then you can't buy them anymore, so that will be to come, but for now, I haven't sold it, it's broken instead, so yeah, I'm driving that instead, which is not as comfortable or smooth, but does handle better. I'm trying to keep talking so I don't cry.